Yeah. Welcome, everybody. Hello. Welcome to our YouTube guided practice session. I'm here every Tuesday and Friday. Well, most Tuesdays and Fridays. And we like to work on something a little different around here on Tuesdays and Fridays. So I was just working out a little map, a little note map of what we can do over There Is No Greater Love. We're practicing a pentatonic sound, that modern pentatonic sound. Like this. That's the sound we want, somewhat like that. So what I was doing there was not really playing out. I wasn't playing the typical chord changes to There Is No Greater Love, but that's kind of what we want to do in these situations, right? So what we're going to practice today is changing the way we frame the changes to standards. A question I get asked a ton is, how do I get that sound, those pentatonic shapes, right? How do I get that pentatonic sound over tunes like There Is No Greater Love? And the answer is you have to do a couple of things. You have to kind of just tweak the way you think about the changes. You have to take the 5-1 functionality out of the harmony a little bit and make it all a little more modal, quote unquote, modal sounding, right? So that you're relying more on different modes as we go through. So that's what we're working on today. Get to your instrument, make sure you can hear me, make sure you can hear yourself. Into dropping the bombs today for some reason. What's up, Danny? What's up, Noriko? What's up, Colleen? We'll get going in just a minute. Also, just this week, we launched a brand new course called Bebop Enclosures for Beginners. It's my latest little mini course dealing with a really focused topic, in this case, bebop enclosures, and how to combine them with things like broken seventh chords. So we like to do a little offer on these YouTube GPSs. So we're offering that right now for our launch price at $30 off. And you can find a link here in the chat. You can find a link in the description if you want to save some real money on what we've already gotten a lot of great feedback on, is a very surgical look at some bebop enclosures just to help you dip your toe into that sound. So yeah, look for that in the chat, look for that in the description. And just get to your instrument. We'll give it another couple minutes as the room fills up. We're working on a pentatonic sound over There Is No Greater Love. Every time I say There Is No Greater Love, I'm so close to saying There Will Never Be Another You. It's almost every single time, to be honest. There might not be a difference in the crystal palaces of my mind between those two tunes. We can get this sound just by tweaking how we think about the changes. Just getting loose on that sound. Whoa, Joe Kosis. Holy smokes. It's been quite a while, Joe. I don't think I have Linda Presgrave's contact info. I don't think I've heard that name in 25 years, Joe. I hope you're well, man. All right, 2:05. We'll just give it another couple minutes. We're just getting warmed up. Make sure you can hear me. Make sure you can hear your pianos. We just get loose here. We're going to be practicing some pentatonics on There Is No Greater Love. Sorry, I did that. That was cheeky. That one. Come on. Topo Chico, if you're out there and you want to sponsor GPS, feel free. I think I've drank some Topo Chico at every single one. Ooh, Jack has a great question. Do you need to read sheet music for the bebop course? No, you don't necessarily need to, Jack. We try to explain it in a very easy way, and there is a light-up keyboard so that you can see the keys that I'm playing at all times, and I go through and explain it, and we play it over and over again. So we demonstrate, we play. There's a light-up keyboard. You don't need to be able to read music to do it. It helps if you want to analyze it, but that's not necessary. We just want to play it. Unshowered said, what kind of pentatonic were you playing there? We're going to get to that, Unshowered. It's coming. So again, before we get going, check out the new course, Bebop and Closures for Beginners. We'll have a link here in the chat, link in the description to save $30 today. So check that out. Look for that. And yeah, let's get going, eh? Oh, that's good. That's good fizzy water today. It's extra cold. Woo! Feels great. All right. Welcome to today's GPS guided practice session. My name's Adam Maness. We're going to be practicing some pentatonic sounds. So I get asked all the time, how do we practice the pentatonic sound over standards, like over tunes like There Is No Greater Love? Right? That doesn't sound like it would lend itself to like a, well, slow down. It could very well lend itself to that sound. We just have to make a few tweaks of how we frame these changes in our minds. We can make it sound like whatever we want. We can make it sound pentatonic-y. We can make it sound completely outside and avant-garde. We can make it sound whatever we want. Completely inside, stride, ragtime. How we frame these tunes is really the gift that the tunes are to improvising musicians. It's a framework for us to start from. Some people want to stick really close to the original framework, and that's totally cool. And some people want to use it as a jumping off point to explore other music. And this is a kind of music we can explore in that way. So we're going to be dealing with that kind of, McCoy Tyner sound, Chick Corea, Herbie Hancock, Kenny Kirkland, that kind of pentatonic sound. So how do we get that sound? Now, you probably know There Is No Greater Love, and you probably have seen the changes many, many times. What we need to do is just rethink how we think about the changes. So here's my little version of No Greater Love. So I only had room here for A section and a B section, but we know the tune is A, B, A, right? So when we go to play it, we'll play two A's, a B, and then A with the second ending, right? Should be pretty obvious. You probably played this tune 100 times. But as you can see here, I've done some very small tweaks to change how we think about these chord changes. So we still have a B flat major 7 here, right? But we're going to think about this as a D minor pentatonic. And I have some voicings there for pianists, although you don't have to be a pianist to participate in the guided practice session today. So we're going to do some restricted practice, where we really try to just stick to these pentatonic scales over the changes. And this is, by the way, just one little map that I've made just for today's practice. There are 100 different ways you could do this, and you wouldn't write this out ahead of time. This is something that you can overlay over the changes to get that sound. So you might actually take a chorus that's completely inside, using more of a bebop kind of sound. Right? right? And then maybe the second chorus, you want to break it out a little bit. The energy maybe has picked up a little bit, and you'll add some more pentatonics. Whatever we're feeling, we can do. We can use whatever music is in us that we want to come out. We want to make sure that we have that sound available to us. So this is just one way that you can tweak those sounds to get the sound you're looking for. I mean, if you do it with a bebop sound, you're also tweaking the original, musical version of this tune. So either way, it's kind of the same thing. So here, if we look at the original changes, B flat major 7 would be in the original changes, and then we would have E flat 7, right? And you could do an E flat dominant chord here and do it all pentatonic E, which is a phrase I just made up. But I want to do this little chromatic walk down here because for me it gets more of the. I can create more sort of similar sounding patterns with this chromatic walk down. By the way, the bass player doesn't have to change anything. If he's playing an E flat, bass player's playing an E flat, and you're playing this A7 sus, it's just going to add more tension. A good bass player will go with you and realize what's going on, but it's not totally necessary. You can get away with. Okay, so B flat major 7, A7 sus, right? And for that we use an E minor pentatonic. So right away, we're going outside of the key of B flat. And I'm actually, I have E minor pentatonic here. You could use any of the pentatonics that would work over an A7 sus, a B minor pentatonic. You could just use like an E Dorian sound and pick and choose your shapes. We'll say E minor pentatonic just for the sake of simplicity, And then we have A flat 7 sus, and we use an E flat minor pentatonic. So we have some chromatic movement here from E minor. And then, this is so cool. So our next chord is the G7 flat 9 sus 4. It's a fancy name for this kind of sound. Right? And what I'm going for here is what I have, an F minor 6 pentatonic. So it's just like an F major pentatonic, but with a flat third. F, G, B flat, C, D. This is a very important pentatonic scale, by the way, to get in your fingers. It has all kinds of uses, but over this sound, right? You've heard this sound before. It's so tense, right? And it's meant to go somewhere, and it does. It goes to our C7. So those first 4 bars. Right, that G flat 9 sus 4 or sus 4 flat 9 or however you want to put it, it just goes so naturally. It builds so much tension into that C7 sus. And so all I'm doing here is mapping some different substitutions over the original chords, and I'm not changing much. I have a couple of points of tension there, but really I'm kind of sussing out all of the dominant 7th chords. Right? Just give yourself a second here and just get familiar with these. Woo. And then our C7 sus, right? It's a G minor pentatonic. Again, I'm probably not thinking totally G minor pentatonic here. Like I like to have an E natural in there, so you might come up with your own scale. You might just do the C mixolydian, but kind of shape it more in this pentatonic way. That's definitely a way. Like sticking strictly with just, it's fine. But that's where we'll start simply. And then, our F minor 7, our F flat 9 sus 4. This is another one of those sounds. The same thing that we did with our G7 flat 9 sus 4, but down a whole step. So we have an E flat minor pentatonic. So it's just like a major pentatonic, like an E flat, right? E flat major pentatonic, but with a flat third. Isn't that great? And that gets us this really like very tense sound. This is great for chords that are leading somewhere happy, right? Because we're building this tension. And then we just let it go into a very happy place. Okay, so then it does that again, right? It's A, B, A is our form. It takes the second ending. The second ending is pretty much the same as the first, but it's just twice as fast and lands on a B flat to resolve. All the chords that we have there before. Our bridge, we're going to use that same dominant 7 flat 9 sus 4 sound, right? Where we use the minor pentatonic from a whole step below. And again, our voicing for that is so cool. So over D, the voicing starts from the bottom up at the flat 9, right? And then it's got the sus, it's got the 5, it's got the root in there. That's kind of the voicing we're going for. The other one that could work is the one that I have there up on the G7 flat 9 sus 4. Just a different way to do it, but that voicing is so hip. And check that out. From our D7 flat 9 sus 4, look at a little music theory here, right? Our C minor 6 pentatonic going to a G minor 6 pentatonic, right? That's a little minor plagal cadence kind of vibe, right? Just with the D as the root, but it works really well. It does that 3 times. And then the last 2 bars, just again, a C7 sus, just like the second ending. And then that F7. Right? So the whole thing, if you were going to play it, it's going to sound something like this. Just playing some rootless voicings there. And you might have noticed that sometimes I would go back to what would be the original change, right? I would kind of go back to maybe instead of C7 sus, or instead of F flat 9 sus 4, I would do just like a regular F chord and then go to it at the end. That's totally cool, right? Remember, this isn't like some kind of robotic thing that we have to follow as we go through it. This is just some additional colors that we can kind of overlay on the map of our changes for There Is No Greater Love. So I thought we could just kind of shed this. Now that we have this map, let's just try it. And you can practice it by doing just a little bit of maybe pattern work. And I say that not in a, again, you should be a robot and play patterns, but just think about motifs more than anything, right? Can you stick with a shape, like 2, 3, and then change that pentatonic scale. As opposed to just running the scale. You know what I mean? That's the kind of work that I'd like to do. So let's just start really simply. Let's see if you can stay in a relatively close geographic area of your instrument. So on a keyboard, in one very close area, like maybe an octave. Let's see if you can stay within an octave. If you're playing the trumpet, you're like, yeah, of course. But if you're playing the piano, you have all these options. So let's see if we can stay just within a nice little octave. I'll give you some accompaniment. So you just worry about getting this sound in your fingers. Let's do it. Let's practice. It's fun. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. That was the top. That's the second ending here. B section. Second ending. Let's do another chorus. Remember, it's A, A, B, A. Here's the very top. Second ending. Bridge. Last day. Lost my camera. Right. Woo. So that's some easy work we can do mapping out the changes like this. And you can literally do this with any standard you want, right? All you have to do is think about like, what do I need to do to switch the frame of mind of this change so that it's not so functional. So if you're doing like Autumn Leaves, you know, C minor to F7, maybe that C minor, you stay, that F7, you know, you stay Dorian C minor, right? But that F7, you do something like this flat 9 sus4. And then that B flat, you can do maybe even a Lydian. You know, and again, we don't do this ahead of time. Like you wouldn't write this out and have this, you know, on a stand or whatever, like you were going to like read it. This is just some options that we can overlay over any of the changes. It's like any other substitution. It's just kind of a sound set, right? It's a sound set. Okay, so we did a version there. Hold on. I need my Topo Chico. We did a version there where we just tried to stay very tight geographically, where we wanted to practice within an octave, right? But what if we went a little bit broader and tried to bring in some rhythmic motifs? Oh, someone's asking. So again, the deal for today is $30 off bebop enclosures for beginners. You can find the link here in the chat. You can also find it in the description. We like to do a little bit of a special every Tuesday and Friday here on YouTube. This is a brand new course. It's already super popular. We're so happy with the feedback. Thank you everybody for sending me the well wishes and the notes about it. It's really cool. Just dealing with bebop enclosures. A little bit different sound than what we're dealing with today, but such a beautiful sound, an important part of the language. Okay, so let's do another play along. Let's do like 3 or 4 courses. We'll just kind of let it go. Let's just experiment. But start this one off. I need my Topo Chico. Hold on. Start this one off by thinking about short, very direct rhythmic phrases, like very deliberately trying to create some kind of motif that you can then move around over the changes, whatever that may be. That might be a rhythm, right? That you can then just move around. And start playing with it. That kind of thing where you're just really, you pick something, right? You just kind of hone in on one little thing and then you apply it over the map of changes that we have here. Like I said, try to keep your phrases short on this. We don't want to do long, luxurious lines over this. We want to really keep it tight so that we can practice applying these things over these different changes. If you're a pianist, maybe try putting some of these voicings into play right now. These voicings will kind of help you get the sound. So let's give it a shot. Maybe do it just a hair brighter. I'll play some bass. You play some magic. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. Another one. Here's the bridge. Do another. Yes. So by using that technique of these jabby, short little motifs and applying that over these pentatonic sounds, right? By altering just the way we frame the changes. we can really create more of that, what I like to call like an angular sound, right? If we're think about the smooth roundness of some nice functional harmony, which is gorgeous, nothing wrong with it, but that angular sound of the more modal thing, to me, it's a little bit more modern, and it's definitely something that we can mix and match. So let's do one more play along with this concept, because this is really, really fun. Let's go like switcheroo on this. What we can do is let's do a bunch of choruses, and I want you to practice switching between playing the regular changes to "There Is No Greater Love" or there will never be another you. Whatever one you want to play, that doesn't seem to matter. There is no greater love. You can go back and forth between doing what you would normally do, like maybe just kind of straight ahead. Right? That sort of like hard bop thing that everybody kind of has. Just, swinging along here. Nothing wrong with it. But practice switching in then some of this sound. So you could be like... and then going back to more of the bebop or hard boppy kind of thing. Just kind of like practicing going between these two different textures, which is what they really are. It's just like a very subtle, different sound. So, okay, let's give it a shot. This will be our last one, so take advantage. We'll go for a little bit, too. I'll go a little slower. Take it nice and easy. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and... Go again. Practice switching between those textures. One more. Couldn't just end it all normal. Had to put some funk on it. All right. Isn't that fun? That's such a great sound. So we'll leave this video up indefinitely, so you can come back to it if you want to study it a little bit further, if it maybe was a little bit of a leap off a cliff to try to get these pentatonic sounds right away. But if you ever are curious about going on a deeper dive of this kind of way of approaching a standard, this video will be up for you. And again, just for the launch of our brand new course, Bebop Enclosures for Beginners, $30 off. You can follow the link here in the chat. You can check it out in the description, and we'll be doing it. All right. Thanks, everybody. It's a fun one. Yeah. And while we don't have a specific course at Open Studio for this concept yet, you know, that's what we're doing here. We're working it out. We're trying to figure out the best way to piece it together. But this is definitely a topic that gets asked a ton. How do I play? Like, everybody who is into the pentatonic sound at first, you know, you start with like a blues, which is kind of an easy way to get it, or maybe a modal tune like So What or Impressions or something like that, or even like, you know, One Finger Snap or Inner Urge or one of those amazing Wayne Shorter tunes where it's kind of, it's not easy to do, but it's sort of the tune itself is set up to give you what you need to do that. But when you have to do it over like Have You Met Miss Jones or Rhythm Changes or There Is No Greater Love, it's like, how do you get that sound over such functional harmony? And players do it all the time. I mean, you know, great players, that's their thing, right? They can do that over anything. And so this is, for me, an easy way to think about this and map it out in my head. And again, we wouldn't want to use this as a literal map like on our stand on a gig or anything, but as a way to sort of think like, okay, instead of E flat 7 in the second bar, I can do the tritone sub and I can make it a sus chord and I can do this pentatonic sound. So instead of like a, you know, which has a vibe, you could vibe it out in that pentatonic way. You can just be as simple as you like, and it gets that sound for you. So hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to hit up the chat here to see if there's any questions about it. The relationship between the chord and the pentatonic scale bass. I'd like to know if there's a certain rule. I'm not sure if I know exactly what you mean, Noriko, but we can certainly hit me up on email, or we can certainly discuss it in the DGPS sometime. Richard says, try it +1 and outplaying course would be awesome. Yeah, I need to do that. Maybe that could be the next targeted course, like very specific courses. Triad +1, pentatonics, that kind of thing, outplaying. We need to do something like that. You're right, Richard. Good suggestion. Zachary. Maybe it is a conscious choice to omit the third, which defines major or minor. So without that, it achieves characteristic sound. Just my thought. Yeah, that's part of it. You're talking about the sus chords, but as I was saying, you know, even on the sus chords, like I have the pentatonics here, Zachary, you know, like on this A flat 7 sus, right? We have an E flat minor pentatonic, and I have it there. But when I was actually giving examples of playing through this, I hit a lot of Cs because I like that C sound over the sus. So really, it's less about omitting the third and more about getting this sound. Right? It's more about omitting the third in the chord, honestly, in the harmony below. So that's just how I think about it anyway. Yao Ming, which Open Studio course goes in today's session in more detail. So we don't, like I said, we don't really have a specific course for it, but we will. We're going to do something. I'm inspired now to try to make that happen. Steven says, what about how to anticipate the next pentatonics? So like to anticipate the next pentatonics. Oh, like subbing something in to anticipate it. So we've done a little bit of that work here in the guided practice session on YouTube, what I like to do, the ultimate anticipation when you're dealing with pentatonics, I think, is from a half step below. So if we are on, let's say we're on the first ending, right? So we have C7 for 2 bars, then our F. Now, if I really want to anticipate that half step, or sorry, that B flat major 7 back at the top, I'll go a half step below into that B flat major 7. That's my favorite way to do it, but yeah. Jackson says, is the logic behind some of these at least playing the minor 2 of the 5/7, i.e. E is the 2 of A7, E flat is the 2 of A flat 7, G is the 2 of C7. Yeah, you can think about it that way. That is definitely a logical way to think about it. We're just thinking about sounds. Like, I very nearly wrote this chart with, instead of E minor, pentatonic, G major, pentatonic. Right, which is the same scale, same set of notes. But I know that some people think about pentatonics only in the minor term. So I wanted to be clear on that, but you could think about it as G. So you could think about it as like the pentatonic from a whole step below, you know? And so it's really not more about like, it makes sense because it's like the 2 chord. It makes sense because that's the sound we're going for. And like I said, I'm actually using more notes of, you know, a Mixolydian scale than just the pentatonic when I'm really digging in. Cool. Cool. Thank you, Joe. Good to see you, man. All right, that looks like it's all the questions. Thanks, y'all. Great playing with you. I'll be back on Tuesday here on YouTube. So hit me up. If you're seeing this live, make sure to catch Peter Martin's Shelter in Place concert tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Always a great time. Peter's going to be playing some sounds like this, guaranteed. So try to listen for those sounds. If you are checking out the concert tonight, see if you can hear Peter play some of these little subbing in some of these pentatonic sounds into what would normally be pretty straightforward bebop language. So. Cool. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Happy practicing.